When people think about America's most secret military site, the first name that comes to mind is Area 51. But just next door lies a place that is just as mysterious and far less understood. Groom Lake. At first glance, it looks like nothing more than a dry salt flat in the middle of the Nevada desert, a cracked, barren landscape surrounded by rugged mountains and silence. Yet beneath that empty surface lies one of the most important and secretive testing grounds in the history of the United States. Groom Lake is the flat natural runway that allowed the military to test experimental aircraft in total secrecy. Its sheer size and isolation made it perfect for projects that could not be revealed to the world. U-2 spy planes, the SR-71 Blackbird, the stealth fighters that changed modern warfare, all of them relied on Groom Lake. Without it, Area 51 would not have become the legend it is today. But Groom Lake is more than just a runway. It is part of a wider network of restricted zones where the line between reality and speculation blurs. Satellite photos show strange patterns carved into the desert surface, long runways that stretch for miles, hidden hangars that appear and disappear between photographs. Why does the government go to such lengths to keep a dry lake bed off limits? What lies beneath the surface that is too sensitive for the world to know? Conspiracy theories suggest underground tunnels leading to hidden laboratories. Others claim that Groom Lake is the true center of advanced aerospace projects, while Area 51 is only the distraction. Whatever the truth may be, one thing is clear. Groom Lake is not just a neighbor to Area 51, it is the foundation on which its mystery was built, and it continues to raise questions that may never be answered. The story of Groom Lake begins in the early days of the Cold War, when America needed a place to test its most advanced aircraft far from prying eyes. In the 1950s, the Central Intelligence Agency and the U.S. Air Force were searching for an isolated site where they could train pilots and experiment with new technology. They found it in Nevada. Groom Lake was a dry, ancient lake bed nearly 3 miles across, perfectly flat and surrounded by mountains that created a natural barrier. From the air it looked unremarkable, but on the ground it was the ideal hidden runway. In 1955, construction crews moved in quietly and began turning the desert into a restricted test zone. They extended runways, built hangars, and established security perimeters that kept outsiders away. It was here that the famous U-2 spy plane first took flight, designed to fly higher than any Soviet radar could detect. Groom Lake became the stage where American engineers and pilots pushed the limits of flight. Later, it hosted the development of the SR-71 Blackbird, the fastest jet ever built, and the FC-117 stealth fighter that could slip through enemy defenses unseen. Each breakthrough aircraft was tested above the flat expanse of Groom Lake, its long surface allowing for safe takeoffs and landings at extreme speeds. The location was so remote that for years the public had no idea it existed. Even today, access is heavily restricted, and anyone who comes too close risks being met by armed patrols. Why did the government choose Groom Lake over countless other remote locations in America? The answer is simple. Its geography made it invisible. Surrounded by mountains, it shielded secret projects from satellites and outsiders. Groom Lake was not just chosen by chance. It was designed by nature to be the perfect hidden runway, and it remains one of the most tightly controlled pieces of land in the United States. As Groom Lake developed, it became inseparable from Area 51, and together they formed the most secretive military zone in America. Officially, it was just another part of the Nevada test and training range, but to the public, the connection with Area 51 created a legend. The dry lake bed became the runway, and Area 51 became the support base, with hangars, labs, and housing for workers. Together they created a fortress of secrecy. In the 1960s and 70s, reports began to spread of strange lights and unusual aircraft flying over the Nevada desert at night. Many of these sightings were actually the test flights of experimental jets that the public had never seen before. The triangular shape of the F-117 stealth fighter and the dart-like body of the SR-71 looked alien to anyone who caught a glimpse of them under the desert sky. Groom Lake was at the center of it all. For every confirmed aircraft project, there were rumors of something more, whispers of prototypes that were decades ahead of their time, stories of hidden tunnels stretching beneath the lake bed. Conspiracy theories exploded, claiming that Groom Lake and Area 51 were not just testing grounds for planes, but for technology recovered from UFOs. The secrecy only fueled the speculation. The government refused to confirm or deny what was happening inside, and for years, even the name Area 51 was missing from official maps. Groom Lake's proximity to nuclear testing sites and other classified facilities added another layer of mystery. To the outside world, it seemed like a blank spot that could hide anything. Was it simply a runway for new jets, or was it the heart of a much deeper project? That unanswered question made Groom Lake not just a neighbor to Area 51, but part of the myth that still fascinates people. Today, Groom Lake is the place where aviation history was rewritten, but because of secrecy, it was also where legends of flying saucers were born. During the Cold War, American engineers were testing aircraft that looked and moved unlike anything the public had ever seen. The U-2 spy plane flew higher than commercial airliners and reflected sunlight in strange ways that made it appear like glowing objects in the night sky. Later, the SR-71 Blackbird cut across the desert at speeds above Mach 3, leaving fiery trails that looked otherworldly. When stealth technology arrived in the form of the F-117, its sharp triangular shape and silent movements convinced many that aliens were flying above Nevada. Groom Lake offered the perfect stage for these test flights. Its flat expanse allowed pilots to push prototypes to the limit while remaining hidden from outsiders. But for ranchers and travelers in the desert below, the sudden appearance of glowing streaks or darting triangles sparked endless questions. Reports of UFOs surged in the areas around Groom Lake and Area 51. While many of these sightings can now be explained as advanced military projects, the timing is too close to ignore. When people saw something they could not identify, the myth of aliens was easier to accept than the idea of secret American jets decades ahead of their time. The government's silence only added to the mystery. By refusing to acknowledge Groom Lake's true role, officials created a breeding ground for conspiracy theories. Was it just a test site for cutting-edge planes, or was it a cover story for something far stranger? The skies over Groom Lake became a canvas for speculation where every unexplained light became proof of a hidden truth. Even today, many still believe that UFOs were not just stories, but realities connected to Groom Lake's secretive flights. Even though Groom Lake became famous for Cold War projects, it has never stopped being important. In the 21st century, the dry lake bed continues to serve as a testing ground for the newest generation of aircraft. When stealth fighters and bombers were introduced in the 1980s and 90s, they were only the beginning of technologies that are still evolving today. Groom Lake is believed to be the site where America now experiments with unmanned drones, hypersonic aircraft, and advanced stealth systems that remain classified. Satellite photos reveal new runways, expanded hangars, and freshly paved areas that suggest activity is still ongoing. Rumors persist about strange delta-shaped aircraft scenes streaking over Nevada, skies with speeds and maneuvers that seem impossible for conventional planes. Could these be the next generation of stealth bombers, or are they experimental hypersonic craft, designed to travel at 5 times the speed of sound? Groom Lake is the perfect place to hide them. The vast flat surface gives engineers the space to test high-speed takeoffs and landings, while the surrounding mountains keep outsiders from seeing too much. For locals, the sight of unusual aircraft has never stopped. Some claim to see silent triangles gliding overhead, while others report bursts of light moving faster than any known jet. Officially, the government never comments on these sightings, leaving the truth buried in secrecy. What is known is that Groom Lake remains heavily guarded. Signs warn intruders to stay out. Armed patrols monitor the edges. Even drones or aircraft that fly too close are intercepted. This level of security is not maintained for an abandoned airstrip. It is proof that Groom Lake continues to be the cutting edge of aviation research. Whether it is drones, stealth, bombers, or technology still decades away from public eyes, Groom Lake is where the future of flight is being shaped. Groom Lake is one of the most heavily guarded places in America, and the secrecy surrounding it is almost unmatched. From the moment you approach the restricted zone, warning signs appear along dirt roads that stretch through the desert. They make it clear that trespassing is forbidden and that deadly force is authorized. Hidden cameras track every vehicle that comes near the boundary. Motion sensors buried in the sand pick up any attempt to sneak across. Armed security patrols known as Camo Dudes watch the edges of the restricted zone day and night, ready to intercept anyone who dares to come too close. Even the air above Groom Lake is restricted. Pilots flying civilian planes know to avoid the airspace completely because entering it without permission could result in immediate interception by military jets. Satellite images are closely monitored, and many of the buildings at Groom Lake are designed to be camouflaged against the desert floor to make them harder to identify from above. This obsession with secrecy is not just about protecting the land, it is about protecting the technology being tested there. If Groom Lake truly is where the most advanced aircraft in the world are developed, then every detail from the angle of a wing to the type of materials used must remain hidden from foreign eyes. Security at Groom Lake is not only physical but also digital. Communications are encrypted. Flight data is shielded. The goal is to make sure that nothing escapes into the public domain until the government decides it is time. For outsiders, this extreme secrecy is what fuels so much speculation. What is happening at Groom Lake that requires such a fortress of protection? If it were only a runway, would the military go to such lengths? The answers remain locked behind guarded gates and silence. One of the most persistent rumors about Groom Lake is that what you see on the surface is only a fraction of what actually exists. Many believe that beneath the cracked desert floor lies a network of underground tunnels and secret facilities stretching for miles. Witnesses have reported strange ventilation shafts in the mountains around Groom Lake, suggesting that air is being pumped into hidden spaces below. Some former employees have hinted at underground labs where experiments are carried out away from satellites and spies. Others claim there are massive hangars buried under the lake bed itself, designed to hide aircraft that never appear above ground. These stories are impossible to confirm because Groom Lake remains sealed off from the public, but the idea of underground tunnels fits with how the US military often builds secret infrastructure. Bunkers, nuclear command centers, and missile silos across the country have proven that underground construction is not unusual when secrecy is critical. If Groom Lake does hide such facilities, they could be used for testing not only planes, but also advanced weapons, drones, or technologies still unknown to the public. Some conspiracy theorists go even further, suggesting that Groom Lake connects through tunnels to Area 51 and even to other distant bases across Nevada. Whether or not this is true, the rumors only deepen the mystery. Why does Groom Lake need such extreme secrecy if it is only a dry lakebed and an airstrip? What is so sensitive that it must be hidden underground? The lack of answers leaves the imagination wide open. To believers, Groom Lake is not just a neighbor to Area 51. It is the true heart of the mystery, a place where the future is hidden deep beneath the desert sand. Groom Lake is not only tied to secret aircraft, it is also deeply connected to the legend of UFOs. For decades, people living near Nevada's deserts have reported strange lights moving silently across the night sky, bright flashes that hovered and then vanished, triangular shapes gliding without sound, metallic objects darting faster than any known jet. To those on the ground, these sights were unexplainable, and the connection to Groom Lake became obvious. During the Cold War, the US military tested prototypes that were far ahead of their time. Planes like the U-2 and SR-71 could fly at altitudes and speeds the public did not even think were possible. When they reflected sunlight or left glowing trails at night, they looked alien. The F-117 stealth fighter with its sharp angular body looked like something from another world long before it was revealed to the public. Groom Lake was the stage for these tests, and every secret flight added fuel to the UFO stories. The government's silence made the rumors stronger. Officials refused to explain what people were seeing, and for many, that silence was proof that something otherworldly was happening. Over time, Groom Lake became part of UFO culture. It was linked to stories of crashed alien craft and reverse-engineered technology. Some believed the runways were used not just for experimental jets, but for ships not of this earth. Whether true or not, the mix of secrecy, strange sightings, and unexplained events gave Groom Lake its mythic status. Was the public simply witnessing the birth of advanced military aircraft, or did Groom Lake hide something beyond human technology? The truth has never been revealed, and that mystery keeps the legend alive. Groom Lake cannot be separated from Area 51 because together they form one of the most secretive military complexes in the world. Area 51 provides the infrastructure, the housing, and the labs, while Groom Lake provides the vast natural runway where experimental aircraft can be tested in ways no ordinary base could allow. The dry surface is long, flat, and stable, making it the perfect place to launch and land planes at incredible speeds. Without Groom Lake, Area 51 would not have the space needed for many of the projects that shaped American aviation. From the U-2 in the 1950s to stealth fighters in the 1980s and drones in the modern era, Groom Lake has always been the proving ground. The relationship between the two sites has also fueled their shared mythology. To the public, Area 51 is the name everyone knows, but Groom Lake is the mysterious neighbor that few outsiders talk about. Some believe this is intentional, that Area 51 draws attention while Groom Lake hides the most sensitive projects in plain sight. Satellite photos show the two facilities blending together, with runways stretching across the lakebed and hangars lining the edges. Workers and engineers move between them as if they are one. Rumors even suggest that underground tunnels connect the two, making them inseparable not just in function but physically. The secrecy around both sites makes it difficult to know which projects belong to Area 51 and which to Groom Lake. Was the SR-71 tested at Groom Lake or in hidden hangars? Did stealth drones first fly from the lake bed, or deeper within Area 51's secure compounds? The truth is locked away, but the legend of Area 51 cannot exist without Groom Lake beside it. They are two parts of the same story, one visible to the world as a name on maps, and the other hidden in plain sight as a dry desert floor that carries secrets no one is allowed to uncover. In today's world, it is harder than ever to keep secrets, yet Groom Lake continues to adapt and remain hidden. Decades ago, satellites could only capture grainy black and white photos, but now high-resolution images from both governments and private companies circle the Earth every day. Despite this, Groom Lake still manages to keep its projects away from public view. Satellite images often show runways and hangars, but rarely reveal what is inside them. Some structures are covered with camouflage netting designed to blend into the desert floor. Others appear to be built with retractable roofs so that aircraft can remain hidden until they are ready to fly. Even the timing of flights is carefully planned. Test flights often happen at night when the desert is quiet and fewer eyes are watching the sky. On the ground, advanced radar and monitoring systems scan the perimeter, making sure that intruders are spotted long before they get close. Pilots know that the airspace above Groom Lake is off limits, and anyone who enters by mistake is quickly intercepted. This level of control is rare in an age when nearly everything is photographed and shared online within minutes. Yet somehow Groom Lake avoids exposure. To some, this is proof that the projects tested there are more advanced than anything the public can imagine. If Groom Lake has survived into the modern, digital age without revealing its deepest secrets, then what kind of technology is it protecting? Could hypersonic aircraft or advanced drones already be flying above us without our knowledge? Or is Groom Lake now focused on something even more futuristic like space-based weapons or defense systems? Whatever the case, Groom Lake proves that secrecy is still possible, even in an era of constant surveillance. It remains a place where the unknown is carefully shielded from the world. Outside, behind the fences of Groom Lake, are not only secret runways and hangars, but also the people who make the facility function. Every breakthrough project depends on the skills of engineers, pilots, and technicians, who dedicate their lives to work that they can never talk about. The engineers design and test aircraft that push the limits of speed, stealth, and endurance. They monitor every detail from the shape of the wings to the composition of materials, knowing that even the smallest flaw could expose a project to foreign detection. Pilots train in absolute secrecy, flying aircraft that may never be acknowledged publicly even after years of service. Many of them take risks that cannot be shared with family or friends. Their stories are locked away under security oaths. Supporting them are technicians who maintain the runways, sensors, and communication systems that keep Groom Lake operational. These unsung workers handle the day-to-day tasks that make high-level experiments possible. And then there is the security force, the camo dudes and other specialists whose mission is to guard the perimeter. They know every inch of desert land, and they respond instantly to any intruder or curious visitor who wanders too close. Life for those who work at Groom Lake is unlike any other job. They may spend years commuting to a secret site where their only connection to the outside world is a shuttle plane that carries them in and out of the desert. They live with the knowledge that their efforts are shaping the future of aviation and defense, yet their names will never appear in history books. The world may only see strange lights in the night sky, but behind them are people risking everything to keep America's technological edge alive. Groom Lake is not just a hidden runway, it is a community of silent professionals building the future in total secrecy. Groom Lake remains one of the most mysterious places in the world, and its reputation as the silent neighbor of Area 51 is stronger than ever. To outsiders it looks like an empty desert basin, yet to those who know its history it is a runway, where the future of aviation has been written again and again. From the U-2 to the Blackbird to stealth fighters and drones, the flat surface of Groom Lake has carried aircraft that once seemed impossible. But beyond the proven history lies the unanswered mystery. Why is the secrecy still so intense? Why does the government continue to guard a dry lake bed as if it were more valuable than gold? The questions fuel speculation that Groom Lake is not only about planes, but about projects far ahead of our time. Some believe hypersonic craft are already flying here, moving 5 times the speed of sound. Others think Groom Lake is where space technology or even experimental weapons are tested far away from public eyes. Conspiracy theories stretch further, claiming links to UFOs or underground labs, but the truth remains locked behind fences, sensors, and silence. What is undeniable is that Groom Lake is not abandoned. It is active, guarded, and evolving. The desert has become a symbol of both human innovation and human secrecy. Groom Lake shows us how far technology can go when pushed in secret, but it also reminds us how little the public is allowed to know about the tools that shape global power. As long as the runways remain active and the patrols remain watchful, Groom Lake will continue to stand as a neighbor to Area 51 and as one of the most enduring mysteries in America. It is a place where the known and the unknown meet, and where every question only leads to more questions.